It's retro handheld time!
This is the Ayn Odin, a project that I've been kind of looking at ever since that video I did on the Amberneck and Retroid Pocket on LTT. This is different. This promises to be for the retro handheld community what the Steam Deck is to the PC community. That's big shoes to fill. Let's take a look at the box and see if they, okay, there's nothing really. They didn't even tick any of the boxes for what we have. I don't know if we got a light, a base, or a pro model. There are 3 models. Let's just get into the box and calm ourselves down. For you, I have this screen protector. And if you will not calm down, I will break it.
Oh.
Tempered glass. Actually, yeah, pretty good screen protector. All right, so we got the unit itself in a little baggie. What else we got here? Ooh, nice little fabric. We got a USB type A to C, but it's purple. Why? Yeah, that looks like 2.0 to me. There's only 4 contacts in there. You're entering the system. Right, this runs Android. We have 3 CPU options. We've got the Snapdragon 845, then the Cryo Gold and Cryo Silver, which I'm not sure. The big and little cores, is that what that is?
I think so.
4 or 8 gigs of RAM, a full HD IPS display, 6 inches, well 5.98 inches, close enough. With touch, 369 PPI. Nice. Dragon Trail glass. Oh no, I feel even worse about that screen protector. Wireless up to AC, so not wireless 6 or anything like that. USB 3.1 Type-C on it with mini HDMI, 3.5mm audio jack, Android 10. The Retroid, I think, only ever goes up to Android 7 or 9, maybe, if you update it. Like, it comes with 5. The Amberneck just runs Emulation Station in I think a Linux distro of some kind. This runs Android 10, so that means it can actually run some fairly recent applications if you want to. So you could actually use it for mobile gaming in the traditional sense. All right, let's get it out of the packaging here. First, I need to talk to you about our sponsor, UGREEN. Thanks to UGREEN for sponsoring today's video. UGREEN is here to take your charging to the next level with their new Nexode 100-watt charger. It's a 4-in-1 charger that has 3 USB-C ports and a USB-A port that supplies up to 100 watts of power. With that much power, you can easily charge your phone, tablet, and laptop at the same time, maybe even one of these guys. It'll charge the iPhone 13 to 60% in 30 minutes or fully charge a 16-inch MacBook Pro in just an hour and a half. And with its foldable prongs, the charger is still travel-friendly and fits in the palm of your hand. Get your UGREEN Nexode 100-watt charger at the link below. Ooh. This feels really nice. Like, the plastic is like almost like a soft touch. It feels, yeah, satiny. It's got triggers, and they feel good, and they have a little detent at the end, too. There's, like, when you get down to the end, there's a little bit of extra tension required to get it down to the actual end of the travel. Actually, that'd be pretty good for GameCube emulation because GameCube has that extra detent. That's pretty cool. It's got paddles on the back here. I'm not sure what you'd use those for. Probably, I guess, just map it to whatever you want. It does have a cooling fan, or at least I think that's a fan in there. So yeah, these are the speakers here. They're stereo. They'll fire down into your palms, which actually might be good for audio quality because, like, they're not firing directly in so that they'd be muffled, but they're firing in such a way that when you're holding the device, the sound will come down into your palm and then reflect up. The shoulder buttons feel very nice. These are really thin. They're reassuringly clicky. Honestly, really shocking. I'm not a huge fan of the clickiness of the D-pad. It's got tactile switches instead of rubber domes, which, I mean, some people like that. It is faster than a rubber dome, and you know when you've actually pressed it. But if you're used to rubber domes, it's a little bit annoying. Also, the D-pad is pretty small. Like, my finger covers the whole thing. I mean, if you're playing a fighting game, you're probably not going to want to use the D-pad. These analog sticks feel a lot like the Nintendo Switch, and I think they may actually be Nintendo Switch analog sticks from the Joy-Cons. The face buttons themselves are rubber dome though, so that is a good feeling for me, and they got a pretty good snap to them. They feel good. What is this? Little door for our, oh, it's got a micro HDMI, as well as a trans flash card slot in micro SD. This size? Like, this is fairly pocketable. Here's my iPhone right next to it. Like, it's basically my iPhone, but with controllers. It feels identical.
Are
you gonna get the drift issues?
Possibly. You might get drift issues. I'd have to take this apart to see if it's the same like actual mechanism and it's just the cap that's different. And it's only very slightly different. The motion feels identical. It is smaller than the regular Switch. It is a little bit thicker though. It's only because they've got these grips, whereas the Switch is just completely flat on the back. So this has that contoured grip, which honestly, again, it feels really nice in the hand. It's nice to hold. It's similar to the way the Steam Deck feels with those, this one's kind of taken apart a little bit. But yeah, it's got that molding on the back that, you know, makes it thicker and a little bit more unwieldy, but at the same time, it makes it much easier to hold. And it kind of reminds me of a smaller Steam Deck. It's like if the Steam Deck and a Switch had a baby. Look at that. Let's see how heavy this thing is in comparison to the competition. It doesn't have its screws, there is a can missing, and it doesn't have its SSD. So this is a Steam Deck that's been lightened up a little bit. 650 grams. Yeah, 1.4 pounds. Switch OLED. This is a little bit heavier than a standard Switch. Almost a pound, I think. Yeah, 0.95 pounds, or 0.96 pounds. And this guy, 366 grams. It's like a, yeah, 0.8 pounds. And that's not even the only thing we got here. Like the Steam Deck, this thing has a dock. Okay, the Steam Deck's dock's not available yet. This one is. This is Ayn's Super Dock. Let's get it out of the packaging here, because it's already kind of exploded. So that's why it felt flimsy. This thing has a little window for you to slide your Ayn Odin into. So you basically just do this whole thing, I guess. Yeah, it just fits right in there, just like a Switch.
Yeah, it's a screen protector.
And, oh, well, yeah, now it has a screen protector. Just take this with you wherever you go. And, oh. Also, I'm noticing something pretty cursed. This is the button layout for an Xbox controller. You got a green A button, red B button, a blue X button, and a yellow Y button. Remember that pattern? Yellow B button, red A button, green Y button, and blue X button. They're in completely different locations with completely different colors. They kind of copied Nintendo more here in terms of the whole layout, right? So like, I don't know why they couldn't have just kept the colors. Oh. So this is what makes it a Super Dock. These are Nintendo 64 controller ports.
What?
So you can use an N64 controller on your Ayn Odin with the Super Dock. And these are GameCube controller ports.
What?
So you don't even need an adapter or like a third-party controller or anything like that in order to get authentic controls for these games. And that's the problem for most handhelds or even consoles, because these controllers were so strange in their layout. It's actually kind of difficult to map them to any kind of legible modern controller. Try playing an N64 game with an Xbox controller. There are 2 HDMIs on here. Okay, well the Type-C is obviously for power. Ethernet, I get that. You get the 3 USBs. Seems a little overkill, because you also have 2 USBs up here, which, I mean, how many things are you gonna hang off of this with USB if you've already got Ethernet? The HDMI output on the side is for 1080p specifically, and the HDMI output on the back is for 4K specifically. I've never seen that before. I have no idea why they couldn't have just made the 4K one do 1080p as well. Oh, there's more to this dock. We're not done yet. This really just puts this dock over into why doesn't everything have this territory?
Omega Dock!
There we go. Check that out. That is a serial ATA port. You can slide a 2.5-inch hard drive or SSD into this thing, and it'll automatically connect once you dock the Odin. You can have a huge game library on this and then carry, like, I don't know, your Super Nintendo and NES games on this because they're small. It's like the best of both worlds. This has all the I/O. Every dock should have this. The Steam Deck dock should have this. Valve, please. The USB-C port is there, and it's got like a little collar. Very awkward to get in there from here. But yeah, it makes it so that only when this is fully aligned will it get down there. So you're not gonna scratch up your console. It's like the perfect dock. Sorry, I know I just said that I was gonna get it back together, but as I'm doing it, I'm reminded the one thing that I would strongly hope to have fixed in a future revision. There's no way to get this up after you've taken the screws out without like sticking a screwdriver in here and like kind of prying it. Ugh. So there's no way in. Like it's, yeah, that's something I'd like to see fixed for a future revision. Other than that, the dock's great. See, look, it's begging for appeal. It's got these little bubbles here. Just gonna pull it right off there. I've had better. Nice boot up animation. It doesn't look like there's any proprietary anything in here as far as software goes. Google serve. Oh, here we go. So Odin settings. It's got an ambient LED joystick. The joysticks light up. I think it's just blue. And the side LEDs. Oh, it's got some of that side lighting action. So you have to choose, and you had to restart it between selecting this, whether you want DisplayPort over Type-C, which is 4K 60 compatible, or HDMI, which is 1080p compatible. So this version of it can in fact run with this here little port and the 1080p port on the side here, or it can run with DisplayPort on the bottom. Performance seems solid. I need to turn up the chunks count because it seems like it's a solid 60. Yeah, supposedly this thing can do like Dreamcast games and a bunch of like really high-end emulators, but it's also useful for things like, well, mobile games, Minecraft, Genshin Impact.
What else do the kids play these days, Jono?
COD Mobile, I guess.
COD Mobile. Yeah, so it slowed down a little bit while it was loading those chunks, but it is now back up to basically a solid 60, maybe a couple drops down into the 50s or 40s, depending on what I'm looking at. This is pretty much cranked at this point. And this is 1080p. Now, granted, Minecraft isn't the most graphically intensive application out there, but it is one of the most unoptimized applications out there. Okay, so it's starting to chug a little bit when I look out this way. So there must be a whole bunch of stuff in that particular direction. So it's like dropping down to like 30-ish, I think. Yeah, maybe don't play on maximum chunks, but I mean, this is a Snapdragon 845 SoC, so you can basically expect pretty much top tier performance. But that's what I was going to say, but is this fan thing just not a thing? Is that not a fan? I don't think that's a fan. What are you? $287 US. For the extra $50, you get a better battery. Wait, what else do you have? More RAM and more storage. Obviously, you go for the base of the Pro, right? $67 US for this. There's not a whole lot of stuff in here, like there's a USB hub, obviously, and an Ethernet controller, and I guess a DisplayPort to HDMI, or I guess that's done on board. I'm not entirely sure. It does have the controller ports and stuff, like a controller converter for this many controllers would be probably more than that. Yeah, get the dock and get this. It costs you what, like $350 total, and you've got pretty much the perfect hybrid portable device that you can get for like retro gaming. Yeah, you can stream PC games with I think Steam Link or Moonlight if you've got an Nvidia card, or AMD Link. I was going to just leave it there, but Jono so rudely interrupted my attempts to close this video out by saying, hey, you should go and put on some Crab Rave. It's a little distorty at max volume. Highs are good though. Having your hands there does change it very significantly. Oh, that's not bad. Like, it's not amazing. Very different sound signature with your hands away from it. The stereo imaging sounds pretty good. The top end sounds pretty tight. The bass is heavier than I would expect. It does get a little bit distorty up at the max volume, but overall clarity is really good. Let me just quickly do my phone. Very strong. Very strong performance. I would say that it actually probably sounds better than my phone because of the stereo separation. I would have expected the speakers, especially on a device that costs this little, to be a weak point, because they always are. It's always either the screen or the speakers or the controls, but none of it feels bad and none of it is bad. It's all very solid. Obviously, the chipset is going to be the limiting factor. It's not like the top-end Snapdragon, but it's an 845, which is not a slouch, especially for the price. Would I buy this? Probably. Like if I were in the market for something like this, I mean, I've got a Steam Deck reservation in, so I'm not currently, but at the same time, like the Steam Deck is huge by comparison. So like if I had to commute every day, this would be my go-to. Probably not the Steam Deck. That's just the bottom line. Thanks for watching this episode of Short Circuit, guys. This is not entirely retro flavored, but pretty retro. If you want something similar, maybe go check out our Analog Pocket episode. Got plenty more like this and not like it as well.